Hello and welcome to module number 2 of the Cash Buyer Ninja. In this module, we're going to go ahead and jump right in and start talking about some of the most effective strategies for finding cash buyers to add to your buyers list. Now, before we get going, I just want to remind you once again that it is possible that not all of these strategies or tactics that I'm going to be teaching you will be a good fit for you in your market. All right, and that's okay. I don't want you to feel like you have to do all of these strategies in order to have a nice rock solid buyers list, because that is not the case. Like I mentioned in the previous module, every single one of these strategies that I'm going to be teaching you, I have tried them and I know that they work. However, there are only a couple of them that I use on a consistent basis just because they're easy for me to do and I have found them to be more effective in my market. So just pick and choose the ones that resonate with you, the ones that you feel most comfortable with, and the ones that make the most sense given the resources that you have in your market, okay? So let's start with strategy number 1 here, and I'll just tell you right up front that this is my absolute favorite way to find cash buyers to add to my buyers list. This is something that I do either once a month for sure, sometimes twice a month, is mining the MLS to find cash buyers. Basically doing research on the MLS to find cash buyers. Now, for those of you who don't know what the MLS is, MLS stands for Multiple Listing Service. What it is basically a giant database of properties that are for sale that are listed by realtors. Okay, not only is the MLS a great resource for buyers, people looking to purchase a property. There are tons of properties for sale on there, but it is also an excellent resource for folks like you and me to get on there and do research and find out what's going on in the market. Okay, who's buying properties? How much are they paying for them? What are they buying? So it is a great resource if you have access to it. Now, the downside to the MLS is that you have to be licensed to get access to the MLS. Okay, you have to be a licensed agent, not just any Joe Blow can jump on the MLS and start doing searches. So you do need to be licensed, have a username and password to get onto the MLS. Now, in some areas, like where I'm at in Tampa, licensed agents are allowed to have, I believe it's 2 licensed assistants who can also have MLS access. Now, I know it was this way a couple of years ago, but the only requirements to becoming a licensed assistant was you had to take a class. It was a short class, not even a day long, and then pay a small fee, and then you could get access to the MLS. So if you're in a situation where you'd really like to get MLS access, but you don't feel like going through all of the courses and the training to become an agent, you don't feel like paying all the fees, you might look into becoming an assistant. It's just something to think about. And just for the record, I personally do not have my real estate license. I never have. Okay, so just wanted to let you know that. Now, if you don't have access, if you're sitting there and you don't have access and you're thinking, oh crap, I'm not going to be able to do this, don't worry about it. Like I said, I'm not licensed, and at the moment, I do not even have MLS access myself. That's not a big deal. I know people who have access. There are plenty of agents out there who will do searches for you. Okay, so don't panic if you don't have access. You can find an agent and have them get the information that you're going to need to do this. Okay. So, mining the MLS for cash buyers, it's basically a 3-step process. Step number 1 is you want to obtain a list of properties that recently sold on the MLS for cash. Okay, and when I say recently, up to 90 days. When I do my searches, I just had a friend of mine do a search for me today. I went back 90 days. So you're looking for single family homes, and you can search if you're a wholesaler and you already have some buyers on your list and you know that they're looking for multi-family properties like duplexes, triplexes, you can search for those as well. But if you're just getting started, you don't have any buyers on your buyers list yet, just start with single family. You want to stay away from condos and townhomes. Typically, the buyers that you're going to be going after are going to be looking for single family homes. So you want a list of single family homes that have sold in your area, in whatever area you're going to be working, if it's a zip code or a city or just a neighborhood, properties that have sold for cash in that area in the last 90 days. Okay, so that's step number one, is to get that list. Step number two, once you have a list of these properties that have sold for cash, you want to find out who bought each property. Okay, why? Because those people are cash buyers. All right, now once you have that list of the buyers, the people who bought these properties, you want to do some research, and I'm going to go into detail on each of these steps. I'm just kind of outlining the process right now, but once you have that list of buyers who have bought properties for cash in the last 90 days, you're going to do a little bit of research on them to find out who the big fish, that's what I call them, who the big fish are in your market. And by that, what I mean, the investors who have deep pockets, who are buying up a whole bunch of properties right now. Why do you want those guys on your list? Because they're going to be repeat customers. They're going to make you potentially a lot of money. Okay, so again, the 3 steps: obtain the list of properties that have sold for cash in the last 90 days. Step number 2, find out who bought each property. Step number 3, once you have a list of those buyers who bought those properties, do some research and find out who the players are. Okay? So let's just jump into step number 1 here, getting the list. And this is going to apply this is for the people who actually have their license or they have access to the MLS. And I'm going to go, after I explain how to do this, if you have your license, then I'm going to explain how you're going to do it if you don't have your license and you're going to be using an agent to get this list. Okay, so step number 1, getting the list for those of you who have access to the MLS. What you're going to want to do is get into the MLS and do a search again for single family homes that have sold for cash in the last 90 days. Now, when you're doing these searches, you want to focus on what I call the investor sales. Okay, you're not going to be looking at the retail sales. And the reason for that is the investors that are the cash investors that you want on your buyers list, they're going to be buying at steep discounts in most cases. Okay, so you want to look at the sales, the cheap cash sales, not the retail sales. The retail sales are going to be homeowners, people who are getting conventional financing. You do not want to focus on those sales. So when you're doing your search, when you're figuring out what price range to be searching for, what you want to do is take the median price for a home in the area that you're working in, and you can easily find this out by just, if you don't know already, go onto realtor.com, find an agent in your area, call them up and say, hi, I'm looking to purchase a home in this area in the next couple of months. Can you just give me an idea of what the median price range is for a single family home in this area? Okay, and don't stress yourself out, thinking that it has to be an exact, if you're off by a couple $1,000s, even $10,000, that's okay. But you want to take the median price and then deduct 30% from it, and that is going to be your upper price range. Your upper price range when you do your search. So let me just give you an example. In one of the areas that I do a lot of business in, the median price range for a home, and by that I mean the average retail price for a home, is $100,000. Okay, so I'm just going to knock off 30%, and that gives me $70,000. Okay, so when I go do my search, I search for homes that have sold for $70,000 and under, single family, they've sold for cash in the last 90 days. And again, the reason why I'm looking at these discounted sales as opposed to retail sales, okay, because in this particular area that I just gave you the example, 100,000 would be a retail sale. Okay, I don't want to look at those. Those are homeowners. Those are not investor sales. So I knock that 30% off of the median price. That gives me 70,000. So when I do my search, I'm searching again, single-family homes that have sold for $70,000 and under in the area that I'm working. And those are all typically going to be investor sales that are buying homes for cash. So now, for those of you who have access to the MLS, when you're doing this search and you want to search specifically for cash sales, you might have to go in and add the field, add a new field to your search to be able to search for cash sales. Generally speaking, in most MLS systems, the standard search does not include a field for how the property was purchased. For example, in my MLS, you have to go in and add a field that's called sold terms. Okay, so you might have to do a little tinkering around to figure out how to actually search for how the property was purchased. In my MLS, you can search for cash sales, conventional, private lender, I believe, but it's not part of the standard search. So you have to actually go in and manually add that field to your search. And just so you know, I coach students all over the country. I network with investors and wholesalers all over the country, and I have yet to meet someone who wasn't able to do this search in their MLS. You just have to kind of go in there and do a little bit of messing around and trial and error to figure out how to get that field onto the search so you can search for cash sales, okay? All right, now for those of you who do not have MLS access, you are going to be using an agent to run this search for you, okay? Now, again, if you aren't already working with an agent, a great place to find an agent would be just to go onto Realtor.com and do a search for agents in your area and then just give them a call. Another place to find agents to work with would be your local RIA meeting. There are typically real estate agents that show up to those meetings. A lot of times they're investor friendly, or at least they kind of understand a little bit of what investors and wholesalers do. My advice, if you are just cold calling a realtor to get you this list, is to avoid telling them that you are a wholesaler. That just generally opens up a can of worms that you don't want to open up. By and large, most real estate agents don't understand what wholesaling is. Either that, or they think it can't be done, or they think it's illegal, or they just frown upon it in general. So my advice again is to just avoid telling them that you're planning on wholesaling properties. What I would do if I were cold calling realtors to get this list is present myself as a buyer. I would say, you know, look, I'm interested in purchasing some investment properties in the next couple of months. I'm doing some due diligence and some market research. Would you mind getting me a list of properties that have sold for cash in the last 90 days? Okay. And that's all you really need to say. And, you know, it takes an agent maybe 5 minutes to go in and do this search. The other thing you want to do is make sure that they set you up on automatic email notifications, okay? So they put your search criteria in the MLS. You get your list of properties that have sold for cash in the last 90 days in your, the area that you're working in. And then if they set you up with automatic email notifications, every time a property sells, for cash that fits your criteria, the listing will be emailed to you. Okay, so you don't have to keep calling this agent up and bugging them every couple of weeks for the list. So make sure they put you on automatic email notifications. And again, just like I said before, a lot of agents, even agents who have been using the MLS for years, do not know how to do the search for cash sales. So you might have to kind of walk them through it or let them know that they have to add an additional field. A lot of agents, even in my market, I've done these searches hundreds of times for cash sales, and I talked to agents here in Tampa who have absolutely no clue how to do that because, again, it's just not part of the standard search. So now if you talk to a whole bunch of agents, say you talk to 4, 5, 6, 10 agents and they all say, no, this can't be done, that's okay. Just still have them run you the list with the same criteria, but just leave off the cash part. Again, you're searching for those investor sales. You're looking at the discounted, the properties that were bought at a discount. So typically those are going to be cash sales anyway. So if they can't do that search for cash sales, that's okay. One thing that you want to remember, though, is when you're asking them to send you these listings, make sure they send you the most detailed listing format that they possibly can, okay? When agents send you listings, there are a whole bunch of different formats that they can send them in. Some of them are very abbreviated. They'll just have maybe a picture of the property, the list price, the price that it sold for, and that's it. You want the full listing. Here in Tampa, it's called the broker full listing, and it gives you all of the details about the property sale, okay? And within that listing, you can also see how the property was purchased. And I'm going to show you an example here in just a second. Okay, so here is an example of a listing. This came from a list that I had a friend of mine pull for me yesterday. I had him send me everything 70,000 and under that sold, single family homes that sold 70,000 and under in the areas that I work in. And I didn't even have him do a search for cash sales. I just had him send me the sold listings. And as I'm going to show you right here, you can see that it says status sold. This was a bank-owned property. But if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, see here where it says sold terms, and it says all cash. Okay, so most of these listings, these sold listings that he sent me, are going to be cash sales. He could have gone in and specifically did the search for cash sales, but I forgot to ask him to do that. But I can just go through each one of these and scroll down here and see if it was sold for cash or not. Okay, so just very important when you're getting these listings from an agent to have them send you the listing format with the most details as possible. All right. All right, so now that we have that list of properties that have sold for cash in the last 90 days, we're going to move on to step number 2. Step number 2 is to find out who bought each of those properties, and we're specifically looking for the big fish, okay? The investors who are buying up a lot of properties, the investors with deep pockets that we can sell deals to over and over again. All right, so the easiest way to find out who purchased each of these properties in your list of the properties that were sold for cash is to just simply do an address search on your county property appraiser website. Okay, so you go to the county property appraiser website, and I'm going to show you examples here in just a second of exactly how to do it. You plug in the address, and it will tell you who now owns that property. Okay, now if you don't know if your county has their property appraiser website online, what you can do is go to a website called netronline.com and do a search. Okay, so let's just go here. We are on netronline.com. All you do is put in your city and state, Tampa, Florida, click find, and then you're going to click on your county. And here it tells me which public records for my county are online. In Hillsborough County, we have the property appraiser website. And in case you aren't familiar with what the property appraiser website, the information that it contains, it's basically anytime a property is sold, that sales information will show up here, including the sales price, the date of the sale, and then the new owner. Okay. We also have our online, the Hillsborough Mapping GIS, which, to be quite frank with you, I have no clue what that is. The Hillsborough Clerk, or the Recorder, and this I'm going to show you some examples of how to use the Clerk website too. This is a very handy tool for doing research. And then the Hillsborough Tax Collector. Now, if you go and do this search, and for some reason your area, your county's records are not online, that's okay. I'm going to, in just a couple of minutes after I show you how to do these searches, I'm going to tell you how you can still find those buyers whether or not your county's records are online. And one thing that you want to keep in mind when you're doing these address searches is that it does take some time for that sale to show up in the property appraiser website. Okay, and this of course is going to vary. The length of time it takes for that to be updated is going to vary depending on where you're at. Here in Tampa, it typically takes right around a month for those sales to show up. So that's just something to keep in mind. So step 2, we're going to do an address search for those properties that are in our list of properties that have sold for cash. We're going to find out who the new owner is, and then we're going to do some additional research to find out of those owners, out of those buyers, which ones are the players in the market. Okay, so that's step 2. And again, I'm going to show you some examples here so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Step 3, once you've determined who those players are, who the big fish are, the guys with the deep pockets, we are going to find their contact information using the internet in a little exercise that I call cyber stalking. It's a lot of fun. It's like being a detective. And the 5 websites that I use to accomplish this, Google, you can find a lot of information about buyers just by simply Googling their name, and I'm going to show you in just a second. Facebook, or also LinkedIn. I'm actually not, I do not have an account with LinkedIn. I already have enough online distractions without signing up for another social media site, but when I'm searching for buyers, on the internet, I will often see their LinkedIn profiles pop up. So if you're on LinkedIn, you can also use LinkedIn as well. The property appraiser website, the county clerk website, and the division of corporations. And I'm going to show you examples of all of these in just a second. All right, so let's look at an example here. This is a listing for 4010 North 37th Street in Tampa. As you can see, this property sold. It was a bank-owned property, and if you scroll all the way down here, we can see that it was sold for cash. This actually, if you look at the owner name, the previous owner name, it's Federal National Mortgage Association. That's Fannie Mae. So this was a Fannie Mae REO. It was purchased for all cash. So we are going to go ahead and find out who the new owner is of this property. So I'm just going to take the address, 4010 North 37th. This is my the Hillsborough County property appraiser, and I just went to address search, and I'm just going to do a search for this property. Now, as you can see here, this is the owner name. Now, you can click on this and open up the full file, but this, as you can see, it's still owned by Fannie Mae, or it says it's still owned by Fannie Mae, which means that they have not updated the website with the current, the newest sale information. So right now, there's nothing that we can do with this listing. So let's move on to example number 2. This is 918 East Osborne Avenue. Again, this was a bank-owned property. It does say that it is sold. If we scroll down here, you can see that this was paid for with all cash. Okay, so again, we're going to go back to the property appraiser website and just do a search for the address to find out who the new owner is. So 918, whoops, 918 Osborne. And it looks like the new owner is Glenn E. Johnston. Now, like I said, once we have the new owner's name, we want to find out how many properties do they own. Are they buying a lot of properties in Tampa, or are they just kind of a onesie, twosie type of buyer? So what I'm going to do is do an owner name search. Now, what this will do when I search for the owner name is it will bring up all of the properties that Glenn E. Johnston owns. So we're just going to do a search here, and it looks like Glenn only owns this one property. Now, if you wanted to, you could pursue this this lead and try and find this guy and see if he's looking for more properties. For me personally, like I said, I like to go after the people who are buying a lot of properties because they are the best buyers to have, because you can sell them deals over and over and over again. So I'm just going to move on to the next property, which is 3211 East Chelsea Street. Again, this is a sold property. This was a short sale. And if we scroll down here, you can see, again, it was purchased all cash. Okay, so we're just going to go back to the property appraiser, and we are going to do a search for this address, 3211 Chelsea. 3211 Chelsa, Chelsea. And it looks like the owner of this property is DeLand Properties. All right, so I'm just going to click on this, and we are going to see if DeLand Properties is buying up all kinds of stuff in Tampa, or if they're just buying one here and there. All right, so if we scroll down, looks like this is someone that I want to add to my list. So what I'm going to do from here, step 3, is hunt this person down on the internet. I would like to have DeLand Properties on my buyers list. It looks like they've got, how many properties do they have here? 11 properties. So the very first thing that I do when I'm looking for whether it be a person's name or a company name, the very first place that I go to is our good friend Lord Google. And you can find out all kinds of awesome information by simply Googling a company name. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste this into the search field here. And if you go down to the second listing and click on this, there we have DeLand Properties business address, 4301 Anchor Plaza Parkway in Tampa, and their phone number. Now I will tell you that I ran across this buyer in the property records about a month ago, and I did call this phone number. That phone number went to, I believe it was their property manager, and I just said to the property manager, I introduced myself. Hi, my name is Steph Davis. I'm a wholesaler in Tampa. I think I might be getting some deals. I see that you guys are buying properties all over Tampa. I might have some deals to sell you. Would you mind passing along my information? So I gave her my name and phone number, and then later that day, this guy called me. I had a nice conversation with him. He told me what he was looking for, what parts of town, price ranges and all that, and I added him to my buyers list. Okay, so as you can see, how long did it take me to do this search? Maybe 5 minutes, and I was able to add a cash buyer to my list. And this is obviously someone who is buying properties right now. We saw in the MLS, we did our research to know that he's buying with cash right now, and so this is just, hopefully you can see a very easy, cheap way to add buyers to your list. And I'm going to go over some more examples so you can see, get a better idea of how to do this. So let's move on to our next example, which is 314 West Cayuga. Again, this is a sold property. This was a short sale, and we're going to scroll down and see how it was purchased. Again, all cash. So we're going to go to the property appraiser and do an address search for 314 West Cayuga. Address search 314 Cayuga. And it looks like Cheap Homes USA LLC. So we are going to now cut and paste this. We're going to do an owner name search. I want to know if Cheap Homes USA LLC is a buyer who's buying lots of properties. And it looks like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 properties. So again, this is somebody that I am interested in finding. So first thing that I do is go to Google, and I'm just going to paste that into there, Cheap Homes USA LLC. And once again, right here, the very first listing is their website, cheaphomesusa.com. So I'm going to click on that, and looky here. There is their phone number and an email address. Now, I haven't actually had the chance. I just now found this buyer yesterday, I believe it was, so I haven't called this person yet, but this is definitely somebody that I will be calling to see what they're looking for. And again, what do you say when you call? I just tell them I'm a wholesaler. Most of these buyers who are buying lots of properties, they know what wholesalers are. They want to work with wholesalers because wholesalers, if you're a good one and you know what you're doing, bring them great deals. They do the legwork for them. So I just say, hey, my name is Steph Davis. I'm a wholesaler here in Tampa. I just ran across your website. I see that you're buying lots of properties in Tampa. What are you looking for? I'll keep my eyes open, and if I get a deal that matches what you're looking for, I'd be happy to send it over to you. Okay? All right, let's move on to another example here. This is 3225 North 47th Street. As you can see, this property has been sold. This was a bank-owned property, and if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see that it was sold to an all-cash buyer. So I'm just going to go back to the property appraiser website, do a search for 3225 North 47th Street to find out who the new owner is. So 3225 47, And this property is now owned by Badger Investments in Tampa. I actually know who these guys are, but I'm going to pretend like I don't for now. So again, I'm going to just cut and paste this into the owner name search because I want to find out if Badger Investments is buying up a lot of properties in Tampa, and if so, then I want to find them. So you can see here that Badger Investments LLC owns 23 properties in Tampa. So this is definitely someone that we're going to be interested in hunting down, contacting, and adding to our buyers list. So again, we're going to go straight to Google, paste Badger Investments in there, and I'm not going to click on every single one of these. I've already done this, and I can tell you that I was not able to find a phone number for Badger Investments. So the next step that I take if I'm searching for like an LLC or a company name, if I can't find their contact information by simply Googling them, the next thing that I do is go to the Florida Division of Corporations. Okay, and this website is incredibly handy for what you can do is a search for a business name and find out who the managing members and registered agents are. Okay, now if you don't know, to find the Division of Corporations website in your state, just Google Florida Division of Corporations. It's easy to find. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on look up a business name. Okay, and I'm going to inquire by name, and I'm just going to paste Badger Investments in there and do a search. Let's see, Badger Investments Inc., Badger Investments LLC. I'm going to click on that, and if we scroll down here, we can see that the registered agent is Barry Bass, and then under the manager member detail, we have Barry Bass again and Brandon Schmidt. Now, I usually like to, if there's a couple of different names here, I pick the name that is more uncommon. If there's a Mike Smith or a Sam Jones or something like that, you're going to have a hard time finding them. So I'm going to pick Barry Bass here and go back to Google, and I'm going to Google Barry Bass Tampa. And as you can see, the first listing here is a Realtor.com listing. So I'm going to click on that. And there is a phone number. Now, I believe that this is an office. Yeah, it says office phone number. That's okay. I would really rather have his cell phone number or an email address. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to Facebook. I do a lot of searches like this on Facebook, and I find people all the time, and I'll just send them a message and let them know that I'm a wholesaler and ask them if they're looking for property. So we're going to go to Facebook. And we're going to do a search for Barry Bass. And looky here, Barry Bass, Tampa, Florida. It's the first one that shows up. So like I said, I already know Barry. I already have his contact information, so I'm not going to send him a message right now. But you can see how easy this is to do. Do some Google searches, do some searching on Facebook, and you can pretty easily find a lot of the buyers in your market. So I just real quick want to do a search for the other name, which I believe is Brandon Schmidt, just to see if Brandon Schmidt. And there he is too, Brandon Schmidt, Tampa, Florida. So Facebook is just another tool to use to search for people, and like I said, a lot of times you can find these people easily and just send them a message. All right, so let's move on to next example. This is 2015 East Eskimo Ave. It's been sold. This was also a bank-owned property. We're going to scroll down to see if it was purchased by an all-cash buyer, and sure enough it was. So I'm going to go back to the property appraiser website and do a search for 2015 Eskimo. So 2015 Eskimo. And this looks like it's owned by Connell David O'Brien. This is actually someone that I know. I've done deals with him before, but for the sake of this training, I'll just pretend like I don't already have his contact information. So we're going to go ahead and click on this, and we're going to copy and paste his name and do an owner search to see if this is someone we should be interested in finding. And looks like he's got 17 properties. So yes, this is someone that we are going to look for. So again, we're going to go to Google and just paste his name in there, search, and as you can see, the very first listing that pops up has a phone number. I believe actually that is not his cell phone number. I really like to get people's cell phone numbers. Now, of course, you wouldn't know that if you were doing this search, so you would call this number. I believe that's his office number. It might be an old cell phone number. But if you scroll down here almost to the bottom, there's a listing here from the MLS where it actually lists his cell phone. If you look up here, you can see that the cell phone number is listed right there. So, once again, how long did this take? A couple of minutes, a couple of very simple searches. It didn't cost anything. I didn't have to leave my desk to get this information. And now I have the phone number of another cash buyer in my market. So I hope you can see how powerful this is and how quickly you can amass a very, very solid, hot buyers list of people buying properties for cash in your market. All right, so let's talk about what happens if you just can't find a particular buyer, and it happens sometimes. Sometimes I'll search and search and search, and I just run into dead ends, and I can't find the buyer's contact information. One option is to just move along to the next buyer. There are plenty of them out there, but in some instances, if it's someone that I really, really want to find, like say they are buying a lot of properties in a specific zip code that I'm working in, or just someone who is clearly buying a whole bunch of properties, and I really want to find them, what you can do is pay for a skip trace. Now, what a skip trace does, you basically give them a person or a business name, and they will come back with all the information on that person, including social security number, driver's license number, phone numbers, all kinds of information. The one that I recommend, it's TLO.com, and they actually have a 15-day free trial, so you can try them out. I believe that the searches are, once your trial is over, I think it's $1 per search. So if you really want to find someone and you can't find them any other way through Google or Facebook or LinkedIn or any of that, you can do a skip trace. And to be honest with you, there have been very few buyers that I haven't been able to, with enough investigative work on my own, just using the internet, that I haven't been able to find. So worst case scenario, you could also send them a letter. If you go into the property appraiser website and look at some of their properties, it's going to have a mailing address on there. So you could always send them a letter. And I've included in your bonuses, there's a sample letter to send to prospective buyers. But sending letters is so much less effective than either sending a message on Facebook, sending an email, or calling them on their cell phone or office phone if you have to. So, worst case scenario is send them a letter. But like I said, if you look hard enough, it's you usually can find these people, all right? And for the people who do not have their public records online, there is still a way to find these buyers. And this method is actually extremely effective as well. And it's what I used to do before I figured out how to find these people online. Okay, so what you can do, and if you're going to go this route, I would just do, instead of pulling sales, recent cash sales out 90 days, I would do just 30 or 60. Okay, so you get that list of properties that has sold in the last 30 days or 60 days. And what you can do is just drive by the properties. Now, obviously, if you're investing in an area that's, really far, a long distance away from you, this isn't going to be as convenient. I personally like to work in areas that are very close, like a 5 or 10 minute drive. So for me, when I used to do this, it was no big deal. It'd take me like an hour. I'd have a list of, 10, 15 properties, and I would go do a drive-by. Now, what you're looking for is a sign in the yard, either a for rent or a for sale sign, or a rehab crew there working on the property. Okay, obviously, if there's a for rent or a for sale sign there by the new owner, there's going to be a phone number on it. You can just give them a call, say, hey, I saw that you just purchased this property on whatever the address is. I'm a wholesaler here in Tampa. I've been getting some great deals, or I'm going to be getting some great deals. Are you interested in buying any more? I have found a lot of buyers by doing this. Also, if there's a rehab crew there working, and again, this will work. If you're going to do this, it's better to get the fresh sales, 30, 45 days, because after 60 days or 90 days, the rehab's going to be done and it might be rented already or even resold. But I have gone by many, I've gotten a list of properties. I've gone and driven by all of them. Sometimes there's people there working on the property. Sometimes the owner is there working on the property. If they aren't, I just give my card to the people there, doing the rehab, or see if I can get the owner's phone number. So, this obviously is not as convenient as just sitting at your desk and doing Google searches, but it still works. And I can tell you from personal experience that it works really well because, like I said, this is the way that I used to find buyers. One other little trick that I have that works in some instances is to do a Google search for the property address. So say you have, this list of properties that recently sold for cash, just go into Google and Google that address, because sometimes what happens is the new owner will put the property for rent or for sale on Craigslist, and when you go into Google and you do a search for the address, that listing will come up and you can get the owner's phone number that way. And I just want to show you an example of that real quick here. All right, so here is a listing. We actually already looked at this listing. It's 314 West Cayuga. And I'm just going to go ahead and take this address. Whoops. I'm going to cut and paste this into Google just to show you how you can sometimes find the owner's phone number or contact information just by simply Googling the property address. So we've got to scroll down here a little bit, and you're going to have to do some digging to find numbers this way. But if we go down right here, this is a website called Place B. Click on that, and you can see here, this is the owner's name. Owner's name is James, and here's his phone number. Okay, so this doesn't work all of the time, but every once in a while you can get the owner's contact information just by simply Googling the property address of the property that they just bought. And again, this works better if you are getting listings that are newer, like, max of 30 or 45 days old. Okay, but it does work. So if you do not have if your county property records are not online, this is one strategy that you can use. And again, you can drive by the properties. That is also very effective. All right, so just some things to keep in mind before we move on to the next tactic for finding buyers. First of all, you may have to do a little digging to find these people. It doesn't always work out that you just go into Google, type in the company name, and up pops the phone number. It happens a lot, honestly. You just saw some of these examples where I showed you. I put in the owner's name or the owner's company name, and the first listing there in Google is, gives their phone number. But sometimes you might have to dig around a little, so don't get frustrated. Like I said, there have been very few times where I am not able to find someone that I'm looking for just by doing Google searches, Facebook searches. Again, you can use LinkedIn if you're on LinkedIn, the Division of Corporations, County Clerk website, and the Property Appraiser website. Also, I want to point out, and I can't emphasize this point enough, that if you do this consistently, like if you do this once, even just once a month, you get this list sent to you and you go through the list, find out who the new owners are, research the owners, and get their contact information by doing searches, your list is going to be awesome. Always. And people are going to start coming to you. Other wholesalers are going to start coming to you with their deals and saying, hey, do you have a buyer for this deal? Okay, so honestly, if you do this consistently, you are never going to have a lack of buyers. Okay, this method is extremely effective, as hopefully I have just proven to you, for finding the hottest buyers in your market. And these are actual buyers. Okay, we're doing the research up front to see that they are paying cash for properties. All right, so again, an extremely effective method for finding cash buyers in your market. The best part, it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to leave your house. That is if your property records are online, and you can do it right now. You could literally hit pause on this video, do a search on the MLS, or call an agent and have them send you a list. Start going through the list, start making phone calls, and in a couple of hours, you can have an awesome buyers list. And that's no exaggeration. So just keep that in mind. This doesn't have to be a lengthy or difficult or costly process to build your buyers list, okay? All right, so let's move on to the next method for finding buyers for your buyers list, and that is mine buyers by spying on your competition, and that would be other wholesalers. Okay, so this is also a 3-step process. The first step in this process, if you don't know already, you want to locate or figure out who the players are in your market, who the wholesalers are that are doing a high volume of business. Okay, that's step number 1. Step number 2, get on their email list. Okay, you want to be notified when they get a deal under contract. You want to be on their buyers list, so they're sending you the deals that they get under contract. Okay, step number 3 is to find out who they are selling to. So step number 1, find the players in your market. How are you going to do this? If you haven't done so already, you need to start networking. You need to get out to RIA meetings in your area. Now, you can network both online and offline. Facebook is a great place to network with other real estate investors and wholesalers. If you go into Facebook and just do a search, like where I'm at in Tampa, if I put in Tampa real estate investing or Tampa real estate investment, there's a whole bunch of groups that are set up on Facebook where you can go and start networking with people. Okay, meetup.com is another great source. You can go on meetup.com and search for real estate groups that meet in your area. Another online source, a great source for networking with other investors and wholesalers is biggerpockets.com. Okay, there are a ton of investors and wholesalers on there from all over the country. You can get on there and see if there's any any people, any investors, any wholesalers from your area, and start networking with them. Okay, reach out to them, let them know you're just getting started, introduce yourself. You just really need to get out there and start networking. Now, one thing I want to point out, if you're in a like a small town or maybe somewhere where there aren't a whole lot of wholesalers, don't get discouraged by that. That's great because there's less competition. I would love to be in a market where there are no wholesalers. Where I'm at in Tampa, everybody and their grandmother is a wholesaler pretty much. So, if you don't have any wholesalers that you know of or that you can find in your area, don't worry about it. Just skip over this tactic and use some of the other ones. One last place online that's a great place to network with other wholesalers and investors. There's a group on Facebook called Wholesaling Houses Full Time. If you just go to Facebook and do a search, type in the search field, Wholesaling Houses Full Time. It's a very active group. There are people from all over the country there asking questions and helping out. So that's a great place to start networking as well. All right, so step number 2, once you have done some research, done some networking, you know who the players are in your market, you want to contact them and get on their buyers list. Tell them that you would like to be added to their email list so that when they get a new property, you know about it. Okay, now this is a good idea to do for 2 reasons. The first is that it's great education. If you find out who the players are, the people who are selling a lot of deals in your market, you get on their email list. When they send you deals, that's great education for you because you can see, what properties are selling for, what a good wholesale price is in certain areas of town. After you start looking at these deals over and over and over again, you'll start to get a better feel. When it's time for you to go out and start looking for your own deals, you'll have a better feel for where your numbers need to be. You'll have a better idea of what a good deal is. Okay, so that's one reason why it's a good idea to get on the active wholesalers buyers list in your market. The other is because you want to find out who is buying their properties. Now, why would you want to find that out? Because they're selling to cash buyers too. Remember, wholesalers sell to cash buyers, either cash buyers or people using private money or hard money lenders. So if you can find out who they are selling to, you can find those people as well and contact them and add them to your buyers list. And that leads us right into step number 3, which is finding out who these wholesalers are selling to. Okay, and there are a couple of different ways to accomplish this. Option 1 is, this is similar to what we just talked about, getting the list from the MLS and then doing address searches on the property appraiser website. Okay, you can do the same thing with when you get on wholesalers' email lists. You can search those addresses. Now you're going to have to wait, maybe 30 days or however long it takes for those sales to show up in the property appraiser website. But you can start looking up other wholesalers' deals to see who they sold them to. So let's just take a look at a case study here. This is 3108 West Idlewild. This was a property that was sent to me by another wholesaler here in Tampa. I'm on a whole bunch of wholesalers' email lists. So this was a property that I got from one of the wholesalers here in Tampa, 3108 West Idlewild. I take all of these emails that I get from other wholesalers, I put them in a folder, and then every 30 days or so, I'll go through the addresses just to see what they sold for, if they did indeed sell, and who bought them. So just like with the properties that you find the cash sales in the MLS, we're going to go to, it's the same process. We're going to go to the property appraiser website, and we are going to do a search for 3108 West Idlewild. So we'll just put that in here, Idlewild. And it looks like the buyer, the person who bought this, or the company who bought this, is Fast House Assistance. So I'm going to go ahead and do an owner search for Fast House Assistance. Whoops. Paste that in there. And if we scroll down here, it looks like Fast House Assistance is doing some home buying here in Tampa. So again, I'm going to go directly to Google. I'm going to Google Fast House Assistance. And once again, the second entry here is, looks like they're on Google Plus. That's what this is for, but it gives you their business address as well as their phone number. So once again, just doing a very simple search. It took just a couple minutes of my time, and now I have a new phone number that I can call and add this buyer to my list. All right. Now, the second option, or the second way to find out who the other wholesalers are selling to, this is a really, really cool, very effective way to get access to, once you know who the players are in your market, who the wholesalers are, who are doing a very high volume, this is a great way to get access to all of their buyers, and it's very, very simple to do. So what you're going to want to do is go to your county. If your county's clerk of the circuit court is online, we're going to do some searches in the clerk of the circuit court. And again, the clerk website, you're going to find deeds here, marriage certificates, divorce certificates, mortgages, anything that is recorded at the county, the clerk of the circuit court, anything that is recorded there is going to show up here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in the name of the highest volume wholesaler here in Tampa, which is my friend Lee Carney, and his company is West Florida Wholesale Properties. So I'm just going to do a search here. West Florida Wholesale Properties. And I'm going to do a direct name search. You can search for a document type. Okay, I want to just search for deeds. Okay, because those are going to be the property transfers. So we're going to search for deeds, and we'll go back to September 1st of 2012. Okay, so I'm going to click on search and scroll down a little bit. And here we have every single buyer that is buying properties from the highest volume wholesaler in Tampa. Right here, these cross-party names, these are deed transfers. You can see here the document type is a deed. This is West Florida Wholesale Properties selling to this person, this person, this person, and you basically have access to your competition's buyers list. Now from here, what you're going to need to do, just like we've been doing for the last hour, start doing some Google searches, start doing some owner name searches. You can go back to the property appraiser website, do a search for each of these owners or each of these companies to see if they are buying up a lot of properties. If you find out that they are, go to Google, go to the Division of Corporations, go to Facebook. This is a very powerful, if your county clerk's website, if they have an online, if they have a website that you can go to and do these searches, you can basically infiltrate your competition's buyers. I mean, they're all right here. So again, I hope you can see how powerful this strategy is and how quickly and easily you can get access to the players in your market. All right, so we've covered quite a bit of information in this module. I just want to recap really quickly. One of the first strategy that we covered was an MLS search. You're going to be searching for cash sales that have occurred 90 days or less, okay? You're going to then take those properties, do an address search in your property appraiser website, and look for the big fish. You want to look for those buyers that are buying lots of properties in your market. Once you locate those big fish buyers, you're going to quote unquote cyber stalk them. Go to Google, go to Division of Corporations, Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere that you can search, find these people, find their contact information, contact them, and add them to your buyers list. Now, the second strategy that we just talked about is using other wholesalers and finding out who they are selling to, okay? And to do that, you need to first locate or figure out who the major players are in your market, who the wholesalers are, who are doing a whole bunch of business, then get on their lists, and then do address searches of the deals that they're sending out. Or if your county clerk's website is online, just go put their company name in there, do a search, and you can see exactly who they are selling to. And one thing that I forgot to mention, when you're doing those searches in the county clerk website and putting the wholesaler's company name and doing the search to see who they are selling to, assignment deals, at least here in Hillsborough County where I'm at, if it's a wholesale deal that's being assigned, that is not going to show up in the county clerk website. The only wholesale transactions that will show up are bank deals or short sale deals, REOs or short sale deals, where the wholesaler actually has to close on the transaction and then resell it. Okay, so those will show up. If there is a wholesaler who is just doing assignment deals, those are not going to show up in, at least where I'm at, in the county clerk's website. So that's just something to keep in mind. All right, that concludes Module 2. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you took a lot of notes, and I will see you in just a second in Module number 3.